Everyone. So this is a quick rundown again of what we call the scapegoat elements. This is when you analyze fiction. These are the elements or parts that you want to look at. These are traditional. A lot of people think that you need to go beyond this if you really want to talk about literature, but for the assignments that we have in this class, you must address these elements explicitly. That means you need to actually say the term. You need to write the term in your paragraphs, in your essays that you write. So the first one is setting. Setting has to do mainly with time and place. I think of TP as just a way to remember it. And just remember that a lot of people think setting is only place, but time is actually very complicated. It could be time in history, time of the day, and time of the year, so the season, for example. Place is also more than just a physical geographical location. It's culture. Okay? So that's setting. And you want to talk about anything you can talk about related to the story that you're analyzing. C is character. Character is not just the name of a person. It's actually traits within a major player in a story, a protagonist, an antagonist. You can have major characters, minor characters, but the point is that you are looking at what makes them tick. In some of the stories that you read, you're going to have characters that aren't very deep and that actually symbolize something else. A is for angle. The angle of a story is the point of view from which it's told, and you know that pretty much from the first sentence of the story. If the pronoun I is used by the narrator, you know it's a first-person narrative. Otherwise, it's third-person usually. Now, third-person narratives can be from the perspective of a character, where you only know what's that character's point of view, or it could be omniscient, to know many characters and to be godlike within the story, over the story. That's the angle. P is the problem. Problem has to do with conflict. Every story needs at least one conflict to get the action started. And so just think of this as the beginning of plot, and all of the problems within a story make up the plot. Problems and resolutions, right? E is exposition, and what you need to know is SCAP, they all form the exposition. The exposition is what's exposed at the beginning of your story. And so we like to talk about a mountain that is climbed during a story. And so the first part, the exposition, is pretty flat. You're being introduced to the setting, the character, the point of view or angle, and the main problem. And once you have that problem or conflict initiated, then you start to climb up a mountain. We say rising action. And so that's technically the second stage of a story. We call that the development of the story. And that's what we mean by G, go. You go up the mountain as soon as you have that conflict initiated. If you use words like conflict, rising action, those are very helpful in explaining a story. So you climb up that mountain, and the top of the mountain, it's not the summit, it's the climax, it's the highest point of action in the story. The second A is atmosphere, and this is the feeling or the mood or the tone of a story, and it can change from different parts of the story to later parts of the story. And so just realize that you can have comedy, but then you can also have tragedy in the same story, and you can have a mood that's created by the language of the author. Think Edgar Allan Poe. Is there an atmosphere of gloom and doom? Is there a lighthearted, spring-like atmosphere? Irony is one of the most important elements here, because if you see that something is spring-like, but you know that tragedy is coming, there's an irony in that atmosphere that's created. There's tension. And then finally, theme. There can be many themes in a novel, but usually in a short story you have one main theme, one purpose. This is the purpose of the author. It doesn't have to be a moral of the story like an Aesop's fable, but a theme must be stated in one single sentence. And this is very important, because when you want to read, even the myths that we have in this class, you want to think about, what is the point of this myth? What lesson is being communicated? Okay, I hope you understand scapegoat elements a little bit better now.